Welcome back to the What We're Watching podcast, Fall 2024 pod on Nerdy Jock Media. Thank you so much, everybody who continues to subscribe, and don't forget to follow us on social media.
Smash that button.
Yeah, X, Instagram, TikTok. You know all of them.
You know it all. Yeah, X is Twitter. X, we got them all your social medias. And guess what? If you're on the go, you can't watch us on YouTube, which is our home station. You can always check us out on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, on Google Podcast. Anywhere you can stream and listen to audio podcast, we're there.
Right, and we're coming every week. We're talking about the fall 2024 anime season, for which there is a bunch of good stuff. We have a separate pod where we just talk about Dragon Ball Daima concurrently. But I mean, there's just so much to talk about.
So much good stuff right now, Dan.
So much, including a remake of one of my favorite shows of all time.
What could that be?
Ranma 1/2.
Ranma 1/2 on Netflix. Streaming
That's right
now.
I don't know if it's on Netflix in international territories, but if you're in the US, it is on Netflix. That means if you have NordVPN or ExpressVPN, you just switch to the US and then it's on Netflix.
Use a VPN.
We are not. We're not sponsored.
We're not sponsored.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, okay, so I'll just jump right into Ranma really quick.
So we have a couple shows we're going to be covering today. We're talking about Dan to Dan episode 5, which is amazing. It's a vibe, guys. So stay tuned if you want to hear about Dan to Dan. We'll talk about that next. But let's just start from the top, the Ranma 1/2. But let me give you a disclaimer in the people watching disclaimer. I have not seen the latest episode with the introduction of Ryoga yet. But I have seen the original Ranma 1/2 back in the day. But so Dan is going to heavily lead this portion of the podcast.
All good, and I haven't seen the Dan to Dan part, so you're gonna
we're gonna take over.
You're gonna have to take the lead on that, yeah. So for those of you who don't know, episode 4 aired last week. Episode 5 is airing tomorrow at the time of this record. And episode 4 was a highly anticipated episode because it was our first look at the 2024 version of Ryoga Hibiki.
Ryoga Hibiki. Everyone's like, quite possibly the most popular character in Ranma 1/2.
Oh yeah, people love Ryoga. They love his counterpart Pichan, the little pig that he turns into.
I love Pichan,
yeah. I mean, he's just a great character with a great game. He's always lost. Yep. He's like very thin-skinned too, so like he's always feels like he has to prove himself, and he's always just like 1 or 2 steps behind Ranma. He's almost like a pettier, more likable, like amiable version of Vegeta.
Exactly.
For Ranma. Where he's always just being slightly outpaced by the main character, but he's so tenacious and he's so thin-skinned. And I gotta say, like, the way that he's done in the 2024 version, I've seen a lot of divide with the fandom on this, and for good reason too. So the show, as it was coming out originally, had a lot of filler, and a lot of that filler was comedic. And I think a lot of it pretty successful, like some of the best filler and anime filler, just all together.
I mean, nothing wrong, but the people in the comments have been saying that Ranma 1/2, the original, does have some of the best filler. So like, I have seen that. The last time I saw the original was like 20 years ago. Legit. Like, it was a long time ago. So for me, it's just like there's blurs and stuff. Like when you said Pichan, I completely had forgotten, because I haven't seen the new episode, that he turned into the little black pig, right?
Right. And we haven't seen Pichan in 2024 yet.
We haven't seen him in 2024 yet, evidently. And that plushie, guys, bring back the plushies. Do you remember the Pichan plushies? They were all over the place.
Oh, totally.
Like
backpacks,
keychains, little plush toys. They were everywhere.
Right. And then
now back on track. Sorry.
No, thank you for bringing up the commenters, because some of you out there have talked about how the flow of Ranma the original was much more sitcom-esque, which is why the filler was more successful. You could put more bits in there. This show, the strength of this show is it follows the manga pacing.
That's cool.
So those bits aren't there, but the pacing is really nice, and the animation by Mappa is incredible.
Right.
That said, I mean, there is a trade-off. There are a lot of good things about the original. The strengths of, the original, obviously, is that the filler did make it more like a sitcom.
Yeah.
It was a lot funnier than the manga in a lot of places. I think I said that, like, my comedic instincts based on, television alone, or it's like early Simpsons and Ranma 1/2 completely. Like Ranma 1/2 did have that sitcom feel. The new show does not. The new show feels like the manga come to life.
Okay.
Which is just great in a lot of ways. There are some bits missing that I really love. Like in the original show, some of you will remember the original Ranma, when we first meet Ryoga, it's because he saves a village from a wild boar. And then he's like, where is Frank in high school? And they're like, oh, you're like in Shikoku or whatever. And he's just like, what? Because he's always lost. He has no sense of direction. And then the boar kind of pops up looking confused too. And then as we keep cutting back to that village, because Ryoga keeps returning there looking for Tokyo, that boar is just now like part of the village. Like he's a member of the city council. He's just completely assimilated. That bit is not in this episode. And a lot of people are like, oh, where's that bit? And it's like, because it was filler. It wasn't really like part of it. But I gotta say, like, I'll just talk about this episode now because the original is always going to be there. Animation, just absolutely insane. The moves that Ranma does, like when he's fighting Ryoga and stuff like that, it just looks so good. Yeah, the Ranma Ryoga battle, amazing. There's a famous moment. Spoilers, by the way. There's gonna be a ton of spoilers. There's the famous moment where Ryoga's just like throwing his belt, throwing his bandanas, and they're like turning into like kienzans and trying to cut stuff up, and he accidentally cuts off Akane's hair, which she's been growing forever.
She gets pissed.
Yeah, because she's been growing forever because she wants Dr. Tofu to love her because her older sister Kasumi, who Dr. Tofu is in love with, has long hair. And so we got that scene in this. We got everything. I mean, the comedy was there. It was dry. It was great. The pacing is just awesome. Like, if you're not watching the show, if you're on the fence about it, like, let's not parse hairs on this. Like the old show is great. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. I mean, clearly, like all time. But this new show, they are doing it right. They're doing it right. Like they are giving us a version of Ranma that is manga accurate. And so we're gonna get, I think, the ending of the show and also arcs that were never animated in general. So yeah, if you're not watching Ranma 2024, you got to check it out because Mappa's just hitting it out of the park so far.
Well, let me ask you a quick question then. So because Ranma 1/2 2024 is very close to the manga, how many episodes? Do you know how many episodes are coming out? I don't know yet. How many episodes are doing for season 1?
I think that, I don't know how many episodes, but I can tell from the intro and the promotion materials, they're covering, I think, the entire first season and a little bit of the second and whatever they're going to do. So I don't think they're going to be able to do that in 13 episodes. I think it's going to be like a 20 or more order.
Because these guys have... What? Okay, this
26.
This is 18 episodes.
Oh, 18.
This is 18. So that might be somewhere around there, maybe 10 to 12 or something like that. So it's a little abbreviated, but still a good amount.
People who are familiar with the North American release of this will also remember that a crucial arc in this season was left out and it was randomly inserted into this season, which is why if you watch this on Hulu in the United States, the intro changes at one point because they actually put it in the Japanese order, but they have the season 2 intro for that section because of the way that it was done with the North American VHS and DVD releases.
What a shame.
It's super weird. I don't know why Viz did it this way. I don't know why they split it out because like the ice skating battle is like one of the most like.
Oh my god! Yeah, I remember.
It's one
I remember that. I remember that.
It's a great section. It's gonna be in the remake. We've already seen it in the preview. We've already seen it in the intro. It's gonna be there. So they're gonna cover at least through, I think, the first 13 to 20 chapters of the manga. No, further than that because they're covering like 3 or 4 chapters per episode.
Yeah, they're kind of crushing tape, as we like to call it here.
Yeah.
And so one thing I've noticed, just not by just watching Ranma 1/2, but because we're also watching Dan to Dan. He's a little bit behind. I'm a little bit one episode behind on Ranma. But like these are great because we usually focus on Dragon Ball Daima, a lot of male-centric shonen animes, right?
Right.
Ranma is great because like it really does. It knocks all the boxes for almost everyone. You know, like guys, girls. Just it seems like everyone who gives Ranma a chance will love it. You know, it doesn't really matter what you love or what you don't love, but like I think it just relates to a wider audience of people.
No, that's a really great point. Yeah. It is simultaneously shonen and shoujo in its storytelling. It is great like action, great comedy, and then a lot of great romance stuff. It's like a harem romantic comedy. Yeah. It's a shonen battle story. Like it's all of these things, and it kind of just fits in this perfect little median place where it's like, this works on every level.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much fun because I mean, I'll admit, I don't look like it, but I've watched a couple shoujos that I loved. I loved Fushigi Yugi. If anyone Fushigi Yugi, The Mysterious Play. I had the whole series in the OAVs and the spinoff. I loved it all, and that's very much a female-centric shoujo show. You know, but I loved going to Mysterious World, the different world. Right? For me, that was amazing. So, like,
Right.
I can enjoy a Ranma 1/2 or some, more a romantic kind of show that is not usually my main genre, but I like to dabble.
No,
Yeah.
I get it too. I like a lot of romantic animes as well. Like Bible Black is my favorite.
I haven't seen that one though.
That's a joke. That's a hentai. It's a really horrific hentai.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, I my hentai knowledge is like it's slim to none. I mean, you got your Golden Boy comedy,
Okay.
Doji. That's about it.
I will recommend this for everybody. So the Bible Black dub, this is why I know about this show. That's why a lot of people know about this show. The dub is one of the worst anime dubs of all time, but to the point where it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so bad. You've seen clips of it on YouTube and bad dub compilations. And me and my buddy Mark, like, we're huge bad dub enthusiasts. Like, we love bad dubs. And so that's how we came upon Bible Black. And I ended up watching it and being like, oh my God, this is really messed up.
Yeah.
But hopefully me mentioning it got a laugh out of somebody as a romantic anime.
Tweets their own. But Ranma's a little more lighthearted than that hentai, of course. But nothing like that. But
Ranma's great. It checks so many boxes.
Yeah.
It's had such staying power. It's one of those shows that I always come back to every year. Like on a sick day, like if I'm sick and it's raining, like, and I have nothing to do, if my kid's at school, I'll snuggle up on the couch with some tea, I'll watch some Ranma, and it's just like, it just pacifies. It's so good.
Your Ranma to you is like Neon Genesis Evangelion to me. See it every year.
Well, I don't know. It. I love Ava too.
Okay, never mind. Yeah,
but we are polar opposites with Ava because I cannot rewatch that show every year because it deeply disturbs me.
No, give me the deep drama.
I've seen it all the way through 4 times.
Yeah.
But I always need a couple years off where I'm just like, after End of Evangelion ends, I'm just like, who am I? Like, what is anything? You know?
That's the whole point. Like, what is existence? And it explains it. But no, we're not doing an Evangelion pod here today. We will sometime, but we're doing the Ranma 1/2. We are doing.
And tell us about Dan to Dan. How's that going right now? Because I am a little behind.
Guys, it's a great segue, especially since Ranma 1/2 has romantic moments and great moments like that. I'm fully in. So we're on episode 5 of Dan to Dan just released, and every time I say Dan to Dan, I gotta go Dan to Dan, Dan to Dan.
Right.
Like it's in your head.
When you say hi to me now, that's how you say.
Dan to Dan, Dan to Dan. It is. I guess the best word to describe this show is it's a vibe, guys. This show is awesome. Like the first 2 episodes, like I don't know, am I gonna be on this? No. After episode 4. Turbo Granny versus Ayase Granny and that family. And then it was like 23 minutes of just pure, crazy animated action going all through the city, on a train, giant crabs, big fight scenes, magical techniques, resulting in what we think, spoiler alert coming, was the end of Turbo Granny. But that's not necessarily true. But this episode 5, it's a classic anime trope. You'll see, just like in Ranma, it is the boy and the girl, they have a connection. They know there's a spark there, kind of like Ranma and Akane, but it's also a little bit staticky. They're not sure where they're at. They both have strong feelings for each other, but you get some great moments. Like even from the opening of Dan to Dan episode 5, Okarun, he comes out and he's nervous, just like every guy in high school. This is so relatable, by the way. We've all had these moments, these Ranma 1/2 moments, these Dan to Dan moments where he's like, okay, I'm gonna see Momo today. How should I play it? I'm such a nerd. His confidence is still low, even though he can turn into a badass, cursed spirit demon fighter warrior, and he's done some cool shit.
Right.
But at the same time, he's still a teenage boy at heart.
Yeah, so having a crush is like the end of the world. It's
exactly.
Like, oh my God, yeah. Like, what does this mean?
It is the biggest deal. And the way they play it out in this episode was perfect. If we thought last episode was a masterclass in pacing for an action episode, this is definitely a masterclass in how you do a romantic comedy. I mean, they hit every beat you want to hit. They have the meet cute. Oh, what is he thinking? What is she thinking inside, outside the school before class starts? They kind of meet, they kind of talk, they reconnect, they feel good. Then they go to class and all they can do is think about each other. Like, oh,
wow.
And Momo's like, I want to talk aliens. And she's just like, just let me get out of this classroom. And he's like, oh, I can't think about anything but Momo for Okarun. And it's really cute. And then they're all excited for lunch to happen and lunch breaks out. And then it's just like, your classic missed connections. So it's one missed connection after other. And I used to get annoyed, especially like a Game of Thrones, when you have the missed connection where it's like, oh, you turn your head and someone walks by who like,
Right.
But this is just a short episode, but it's really cute because the romantic tension, the sexual tension is there. Mm-hmm. You know they love each other, or they're starting to build a relationship, and they're just it's that really fun, awkward, nervous stage where you know there's something there, but you don't want to mess it up. But you're also scared to go all in. And so they play it out perfectly. So as far as pacing goes, in this episode, it's fantastic. There's so much fun stuff. They have a classic trope, the accidental bumping each other, looking the other way, kiss, and then it's caught by Momo's classmates. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
So then they start assuming there's something going on. And then we have another great moment where Okarun is getting kind of teased by this other really cute pink-haired girl, and you'd think it was going to make Momo jealous, but it doesn't. Instead, Momo actually, she overhears this pink-haired girl mocking Okarun and talking about otakus and how they're such nerds and how, I made his dreams come true.
Oh no, the misunderstanding overheard.
Yeah, it wasn't a misunderstanding. They were being a bitch to him. Like she was trying to like just.
Oh, like save face or something?
Making a joke on his behalf. So Momo just like gets a pot and just slams on her head and like knocks her out. And it was just a really cool moment because, Momo earlier in the episode, she was kind of rude to Okarun when he comes to her classroom to talk about his missing balls. What? He's missing balls? This is crazy, okay? And it was a very funny comedic scene. He goes to the bathroom. He's got his, Turbo Granny took his wee took his balls. I know it sounds weird, but it actually it
makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense, and it's funny and it's lighthearted. So don't go crazy about this, but it's pretty cool. So he goes to the bathroom. He's like, oh, he's got his dick back, but he's like missing his balls. So he's like, what the hell is going on? And he runs to Momo. He's like, oh, this is an emergency. We better do something. So later on that day, after they get out of class, they go back to Ayase's shrine. I mean, they talk to Grandma Ayase, the Gilf lady, whatever.
Right.
And they talk to her, and basically they realize that a part of Turbo Granny, even though she was gone, evidently when she got evaporated or destroyed in the last episode, she didn't really she put her soul in the astral plane and then came back. Kind of like in his body, but just it was temporary. So it seemed she basically survived, but she does lose some of her powers in the process, which explains the future of Dan to Dan. So if you've seen episodes where it's like more of a Ken looking figure, but like he looks more mature, but like still like the demon, but not like Turbo Granny, that's because they're able to use some spiritual energy. Grandma smacks him, and then at the same time, Momo pulls out her spirit and puts it in that cat that you see in the
outro. Yeah.
I feel bad because I'm kind of spoiling this whole episode for you.
Yeah, now I have nothing to look forward to.
You've nothing to look forward to. But
No. But cat and mouse romance stuff,
yes.
like everything you're describing, it sounds like a romance on par with Bible Black, and I'm so excited to watch.
No, this is amazing. So I mean, it's just a great idea that we're doing Ranma 1/2 at the same time as Dan to Dan, because there's a lot of everything you want in both of these shows.
Yeah.
So if you have not caught on to Dan to Dan and you're like, I don't know, dude, I've been 5 episodes in, and now I'm excited to watch this every day now. Not like, oh, I'll put it on like a Psycho Pass, which I enjoy and I'm watching right now as well. But like Dan to Dan is like top tier right now, and it's a vibe. It is a vibe.
You're giving me FOMO because I'm not caught up because I got stuck in the mud with the first 3 because it's like obviously it's a beautiful show, obviously very creative, obviously there's some intriguing stuff, but it's also so crazy that I'm kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this show. I'm not as excited to watch it.
It shifts. That's what I'm saying.
Right, exactly. But now you're talking about the shift, and even though like you're spoiling the hell out of like this romance thing, it's like when I watch a romance anime or like read a romance manga, it's like that's exactly exactly what I want.
Yeah.
I want the will they, won't they.
Yeah.
I want that like push-pull sort of thing going on. So like, I mean,
got goosebumps a couple of times this episode. It was a really cute, sweet moments, you know?
And I like it when like big crazy shows have kind of that slice of life episode too, where it's like, okay, we're just gonna slow down and we're talking about being a teenager in life, because that's something that we've all experienced. It's like some of you who are listening might be experiencing that right now,
and you're like, oh,
in which
you can
case,
relate.
like,
it's very relatable.
Listen, it feels like the end of the world, but you're gonna get through it.
You're gonna get through it.
Yeah, you're gonna get through it. I mean, it's crazy, and the fact that you're feeling as strongly as you do, that's exactly developmentally where you should be right now.
You're all over the place. It's teenagers, and it's just a great show. So catch up tomorrow, because episode 4, that's when it turns. That's when you're saying, okay, you kind of fully understand all the elements of the plot and how the show is going to work. And once they get that gear going, I was actually ready after episode 5, this last week. I was ready to I want to watch 6, I want to watch 7. I might even start reading the manga. That's how I'm involved.
Oh wow, fully in. Okay, so I will make a commitment to be fully caught up by the time we record the next episode next week. So
and that's about it. One brief note, I am watching Psycho Pass right now as well.
You are.
You have seen Psycho Pass, at least season 1 in the past.
In the past,
And last episode we talked about was episode 14 and 15, where the plot really gets going. The riots are happening. If you haven't seen Psycho Pass, give it a go, because I just finished watching episode 16 and episode 17, and they're on Mishima's back, the bad guy. They're hot on his trail. They know who's responsible for all this crime that's going on, all these riots, just total chaos in a world that's supposed to be chaos free. Mm-hmm. And at the very end of this episode, you get a huge twist. You already thought it was weird with the Sybil system, which is, if you haven't watched yet, spoiler alert, it is a system that basically judges people's mental health, and it's able to let you know if they're a threat or not. And so people are either terminated or put into mental health institutions.
It's a psychic social credit system that literally has life and death consequences.
That's actually I couldn't describe it better. And it has life and death consequences. But after the very end of episode 16, they do another twist, another shift, and I'm not even going to ruin it here for you because it's great. I was like, oh shit. It's I thought it was, I already really liked the show, but that just added another layer of depth to this. And now you're like, you know what? What is right? What is wrong? Who are the bad guys in this show? There is a lot more to this show than I thought when I first started watching it. And it's getting deeper and deeper every episode. So I'm excited to get in the rest of this, just finish the season out. But if you haven't watched that, give that a go too.
Okay. Yeah. Psycho Pass is great. It's classic. I remember when it was coming out. I do need to see season 2, so maybe I'll join you on that once you're done with season 1.
Anything else you're watching right now?
Yeah, I'm also watching the 2024 remake of Kenshin, the Kyoto Inferno arc.
Of course, Kenshin.
Yes, Rurouni Kenshin. And let me tell you, it's good. I mean, I don't think this remake is better than the original. I won't give it as much of a glowing praise as I give the Ranma remake, but it is fun to watch it, and it's interesting to see sort of what they can do differently now with this pacing. And I'm honestly just hanging on for the Jinshu arc, that final arc of Kenshin that we never saw animated, which we will get in this version. I've seen a little bit of it in the movies. The movies are really well done for what they are, but I'm not the hugest fan of them, only because they diverge so much from the story, and I just can't get over that. And I know a lot of people can, and if you can't, awesome, because the way that they did the fights in the movies is so good, and the actors, everybody just hits it out of the park. I think is it Makinyu? Is that his name? The guy who plays Zoro in the live action One Piece.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen the live action one.
Oh my god, dude! Watch the live action One Piece. It's universally people were like, dude, this show is amazing. Or it was 80-20.
I gotta get into One Piece, the anime first, and then I'll it's a daunting task. You guys all know who's watching, watching. Thanks for staying with us.
Well, you can watch it. Was it Wit Studio is doing the remake? You could just do that. You could just do that, and then the pacing is going to be insane.
Yeah, but there's a part of me that still wants to catch it too. But there's only so many hours in a day.
There are, there's so many hours in a day to consume anime and stuff like that. But Kenshin's chugging along.
It's good.
It's doing really well.
What episode was the latest one that was released?
So right now they're in the village. I don't think it's called Senkaku Village. I think Senkaku is the name of the villain. But it was the one where they find the little boy and his whole family's been killed because there's this village that's been taken over by Shishio, and it's been erased by the map by the government because the government's just screw this village, it's lost to Shishio. And so then Kenshin, for the first time, confronts both Shishio, he doesn't fight him, but he fights his minion Senkaku.
Okay.
Tears his ACL or his meniscus by making him turn around, and then he gets in a fight with Sojiro no Tenkin.
Oh yeah.
The right hand man, as you will, like in terms of sword fighters and the Juppon Katana, Shishio's elite sword people, and in a a really crazy famous moment, like during a twin draw thing, Kenshin's iconic sword, the reverse blade sword, is broken by Sojiro and Tenkin. So now he doesn't have a sword, which adds to the dilemma. This is such a good story because it's like he's already wondering, do I need to become a killer again in order to be contentious with Shishio? Or can I still maintain my vow not to kill and fight him? And now his means of not killing, his reverse blade sword, the Sakabato, is gone.
Well, hell. Not that, but just to interrupt. So it seems like you're enjoying it. You're on path. Do you know what episode it is exactly? Is it episode 4 or 5?
I think it's episode 5 right now of season 2. But
so they're all around the same level. Like Dan to Dan, Ranma 1.5. They're all around like 4 or 5 weeks.
Daima's a little behind. Daima's like on 4. Yeah, and I think it's also 5 for Blue Lock season 2, which I'm already watching.
Yeah,
can't say enough about that. Watch Blue Lock, guys. It's amazing.
That's next on my agenda. But back on Kenshin though for 1 second is I'm excited to watch the remake just because I have seen the original, but it was 15 years ago, 20 years.
It was like Ranma.
It was like Ranma.
It was a while.
So like everything you're saying is like, oh man, it just triggers memories that I had, but it kind of got a little bit blurry. I'm like, oh man, I remember that now. I remember that part. Oh, that was great. So it's like now I think I'm super excited to get back in Kenshin. So
yeah, I mean there's
so much to do.
I can't recommend it. There's too much to watch. There's too much stuff to watch.
It's a great time to be an anime fan.
It is, yeah. When you have a dilemma where it's like, I don't know what I'm going to watch because there's too much good stuff, like it's really great. I do want to give a little shout out.
Yeah, shout out. Let's do a little shout out. We got something special.
I want to tell a little story about this.
Let's hear this little story. What are we doing here, Dan?
So this is, I believe, the 7th.
Remove this.
So this is a Tonkoban for Bio Booster Armor Guyver, which when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Guyver. I was obsessed with it because it was at a time when I was transitioning out of my youth into like adolescence,
right.
And it had a similar theme to like a Sentai show, totally like a tokusatsu type thing where it's like a teenager is given like a suit of armor and has to fight like with these alien monster things or whatever, but the stakes were insane. Like people's arms were getting ripped off. It was very, very dark.
It was graphic.
Yeah, the consequences of it were really, really deep. And I remember being a kid and saving up like I don't even know how I made this money to buy this comic book. Yeah. And it was my most prized possession for all of 2 weeks. And then I loaned it to a friend of mine. I loaned it to a buddy of mine named James. And not James's fault. I won't say his full name because I don't want to dox him, but not James's fault. While it was in his care, it was either lost or destroyed. And for years after, I kept asking for it back because this was at a time where there was media scarcity and I was a very poor kid. I couldn't afford another book. This book was like everything to me. And I couldn't get it back. And then eventually I gave up, and it was like this bitter, horrible lesson that I learned in life, which was never loan anything to anybody.
Like a Scooby-Doo moment.
Yeah, which I forgot about because it's like, at this point, like 25, 30 years ago or whatever. I don't want to date myself, but yeah, like it was a while ago. Well, recently, James, who's a fan of the pod, who listens and stuff like that.
Thanks for watching and listening, Dan. James.
He reached out to me and he was like, I still feel bad that your Guyver comic that you loaned me got destroyed. He told me the circumstances of how it happened and stuff like that. And he's like, is there any way I can like make amends for it? And what he ended up doing is he ended up purchasing this for me off of eBay.
Originally from Seattle Public Library.
The Seattle Public Library. And it's in great condition.
It's pretty mint. It's pretty sharp.
And yeah, like reading this, like it does feel like a loop has been closed in my life, where like this thing that I loved that I didn't have access to, and then briefly had access to, and then didn't have access to, like I was able to enjoy it again, and it's inspired in me, like in terms of what we're watching, a complete Guyver renaissance.
Dude.
Like I have every Guyver thing. I have the original 2 OVAs. I've got the 2005 show. I've got the original movie that they made in Japan called Out of Control that had a female Guyver too.
Oh wow, yeah,
and
that
then,
one.
And then both
was it pink? Was she pink?
Yeah, she was pink.
Yes,
yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really horrific transformation scene for her. Very famous. It resembled a tentacle graping.
Oh, yeah. Real Tsukidoji stuff on there, the hentai level, but not adjacent.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, pretty crazy stuff.
Pretty crazy.
But now I have all of Guyver, and it's reminding me just what an amazing thing that Guyver is. And I really hope that Yoshiki Takaya, the author, finishes it at some point, because as fans of the series know, it's on an indefinite hiatus. It's left. He just left the world of manga. There's rumors about why. Some say an editor died. Some say he went back to being a dentist. I don't know if you can just like be a manga author for 40 years and then just decide you're going to be a dentist. I mean,
I guess you can, but
maybe, yeah. I mean, but I really hope that this series finishes, because it's something special to everybody who loved it. Yeah. It was my first introduction to a real world funny conspiracy theory about like the alien ant farm thing, where humans are like bioengineered by aliens as weapons and stuff like that. Like it's really a good thing.
Hold on, breathe for 1 second here. We should take a poll real quick. Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Let's take a poll. Should we do a Guyver series? Like maybe because like Dan, you're passionate as hell about this. Like I'm just scared you're not going to be able to get your breath. You're going so fast. I can't even.
Oh no!
Okay.
This is how I talk. This is how I talk.
Yeah, slow down. So yeah, should we do a Guyver? Would you guys be interested? Or let's like we can cover an old school. I think we might even do another show, like an old taku show, where we cover like just older anime too, because we have a vast knowledge of older anime.
We've been meaning to do that old taku show. Like right now, we're old taku reacting to like new anime, or like new. It's just remakes or whatever.
Remakes, but
it's what's coming out right now. But
if you want us to do Guyver, like let's talk about it. Or if you have any other suggestions, like
if we get 10,000 likes on this video, we will do a Guyver pod.
We will do a Guyver pod. That'd be fun. I'd like to do it. I'd like to visit it. I mean, I remember the movies back in the day. I remember watching the anime, but definitely the live action movies were cool. Like we would go around playing Guyver as kids, me and my buddy who was in anime as well. And so it wasn't as like. It was popular, but it wasn't super mainstream. It
was just one of the things that we had at a time when there was such scarcity of anime media in the United States. Like Guyver was huge.
Right.
Everybody who grew up in the 90s watching anime knows about Guyver.
We do.
Whether or not they watched it.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of reminds me of another show that I really love, which I would be willing to talk about in the future, was Blue Seed. If you've ever seen Blue Seed, it's got some similarities with Guyver as far as, I mean, not really completely, but like with the main characters and more of a bio weapon kind of vibe. He's even got the kind of the arm blades at the elbows. Nice. Same thing as Guyver. So like, you'll see some similarities in Blue Seed, and he gets more beads on his head, kind of like Guyver, and it gives him more power in a different way. But I know that's kind of just part of the alien life form, but it's a little bit different. But I really enjoy Blue Seed too. So there's so many animes we've got to cover. But we'll get there.
Tokusatsu is like a big thing, man. Like giant monsters.
Yeah.
The Sentai stuff is also within Tokusatsu. My son is like a Sentai fanatic now.
Yeah.
Like you saw when you came in today, he was watching
Power Rangers.
Yeah, Kyoryu Sentai Ranger, which is Power Rangers in Japanese.
Yeah.
And afterwards, he's like, "Daddy, can we watch Die Ranger?" Which is where the White Ranger and the Dragon Megazord comes from in the American version. And it's like, yeah, we can watch it. He's like, "Can we watch Kaku Ranger," which is the ninja one? it's like, yeah, we could watch all of it, because he likes. I actually read the subtitles and perform it for him.
He's on a kick.
He's on a kick. He's on a Sentai kick. But yeah, I mean, James, thank you so much for closing the loop on this. I really appreciate it. It was a joy to read. It makes me want to read all of them. And I know that Yoshiki Takaya listens to this pod. Yeah. I hope that someday we get the end of the Guyver story, because it is a beautiful story, and would love to see a great ending for it.
I mean, I don't want to keep my hopes up, but I would love to have it too. But the same thing like the Berserk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's so many great ones that haven't been finished. I mean, even Ranma 1.5 wasn't finished.
It wasn't a manga.
Form. The manga was, but the animated form wasn't. So, I'm just going to enjoy the ride and see where it goes from there. But as we wrap this episode up, any other last notes or anything? Or?
No, I think that's it. I think we're still in a pretty lit season for anime. Dude, fall 2024. Like
we're crushing tape.
Yeah, I'm excited to catch up on Danadan now. That was a glowing endorsement.
Love it, guys. This is 5 stars. Episode 5. By episode 5, you're gonna be thinking it's 5 stars. It's a great show. I'm sold. And Danadan, I cannot give any more love to. It's like 5 stars out of 5 stars so far, and I can't wait to see where it goes. So I'm stoked for that. Like we said earlier, thanks for all of you guys tuning in, subscribing. You guys have been crushing it. We've been seeing a lot of responses on our videos and our shorts especially. So keep chiming in, keep watching, and tell us what you think, what you want to see, your favorite moments that you remember from back in the day, even your new stuff on Ryoga 2024.
Yeah.
Like, we want to hear from you guys. So just make sure to share these videos with your friends, like, subscribe, and keep on watching and stay tuned because we've got a lot more great content to come.
Also, too, if there's any show in particular, because I've looked at what the top shows are for this season, basically, if there's anything that we should be talking about or you want to see us talk about, let us know. We'll dive into it. We'll give it a watch.
We'll give it a go.
Yeah, I've been hesitant to give Bleach, the 10,000 Year War or whatever, a try because I was burned by Bleach. I loved it so much, and it just got so bad.
You got a Bleach burn, huh?
I got a Bleach burn.
Ooh,
Zing.
Okay. Zing. Oh, okay.
All right, check out Bible Black.
I can't endorse that show because I haven't seen that, and that's not my lane.
Just YouTube it, and you can watch all of the bad dub moments with none of the hentai.
Okay, perfect. That's the way that we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, but thank you as always for tuning in. Please smash the subscribe button if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music or Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music or whatever. The YouTube experience is the premier experience for this podcast. We have green screen. You get to see our beautiful Nerdy Jock mugs. You know, his muscles, he's flexing them right now. You're missing all the flexing.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. He gets up and he jumps on the table like Tom Cruise sometimes.
Like my boy Toto and Ryoga Toto. Toto and Ryoga? We didn't even get to talk about that, but we're not going to talk about it now. Maybe next week when we get more Ryoga. But we're just excited to be here. And thanks for tuning in.
Thank you and good night.
All right, peace out. All right.
Boom.